A single mother was beaten and cast out with her baby until a millionaire took off his jacket and said, "Come with me." So it began. The distant hum of a city waking up beneath a storm, pulling us into a moment where two lives collide. Rain hammers the streets of Chicago, a relentless drumbeat against the dawn. Puddles shiver on cracked pavement, catching the flicker of neon signs that buzz like dying stars. The air is heavy, wet asphalt, stale coffee, the faint tang of despair. A woman stumbles forward, her steps uneven, her thin coat clinging to her like a second skin. Maria Alvarez clutches her baby, Sophia, wrapped in a frayed blanket, the infant's cries sharp against the morning's gray. Maria's face tells a story of its own, bruised cheek, swollen lip, eyes hollowed by fear and too many sleepless nights. She's been walking for hours, cast out by her late husband's family, their voices still ringing in her ears, blaming her for his blood spilled in a bar fight. Her legs falter. She slumps against a brick wall, its cold bite seeping through her coat. "Please, mi amor," she whispers, voice cracking, "hold on. I'll find us a place. I swear." Sophia's wails soften to whimpers, her tiny body trembling. Maria's sob catches in her throat as commuters rush past, their umbrellas a wall between them and her pain. She's invisible. Or so she thinks. High above, on the rooftop of a modest office building, Elias Kane stands alone. The rain has soaked his tailored suit, but he doesn't notice. At 32, he's a man caught between worlds, on the verge of millions, yet tethered to a past that won't let go. His broad shoulders sag, heavy with ghosts. In his hand, a crumpled photograph trembles, a boy, maybe 10, grinning beside a woman with a tired but warm smile. His mother, Lena. Her last words, "You're enough," cut through him, sharp as the wind slicing across the roof. Elias clawed his way out of Chicago's South Side, from nights of hunger and cold, to this moment. His tech startup is a rising star, contracts flooding in, but the victory feels empty. He's here, on this roof, because the alley below is where he once slept, where he swore he'd never return. Yet something pulled him back tonight, a nagging ache he can't name. His gaze drops to the street. Maria's hunched form catches his eye, her baby's cries piercing the quiet. The sight hits him like a fist, her desperation is a mirror, reflecting the boy he used to be. His breath catches. Without hesitation, he shrugs off his jacket, the first he bought with a real paycheck, a symbol of everything he's fought for. It falls to the rooftop, a discarded skin. His footsteps echo as he descends the stairs, each one steady, purposeful. Maria doesn't see him approach. Her head is bowed, shielding Sophia from the rain. Elias kneels a few feet away, careful not to crowd her. He places the jacket on the ground between them, its dark wool stark against the wet pavement. His voice is low, steady, like a hand extended in the dark. "Come with me." Maria's head snaps up, eyes wide, fear flickering like a flame about to gut her out. But there's something else there too, hope, fragile and untested. She doesn't move, not yet. Elias doesn't push. He waits, his presence solid, unwavering, a quiet promise in the storm. In a single glance, two strangers see each other's pain, and in that shared silence, a spark of humanity ignites. One moment of kindness can rewrite a life. What moment changed yours? Maria clutches Sophia tighter, her breath shallow, caught in the cage of her ribs. The rain-soaked street hums with the city's waking pulse, but her world narrows to the man before her. Elias stands a few feet away, his hands open, not pressing, not demanding. His eyes, tired, shadowed, but kind, carry a weight she knows too well, the ache of loss, the fight to keep going. "I have a place nearby," he says, voice low, steady as the ground beneath them. "It's warm. There's food. You don't have to stay long." Maria's gaze drops to Sophia, her baby's cries now faint, her tiny body trembling against the damp blanket. Fear claws at her, too many promises have turned to bruises in her life. But Sophia's shivering is a quiet plea, and Maria's heart twists. She nods, a small, fragile motion, like a leaf caught in the wind. Elias picks up his jacket, draping it over her shoulders, careful not to touch her. The wool's warmth shocks her skin, a fleeting embrace in a world that's turned its back. The rain slows to a drizzle, mist curling through Chicago's streets as Elias leads the way. The camera follows, weaving through early commuters, their faces blurred under umbrellas. Maria trails a step behind, her arms wrapped around Sophia, the jacket heavy but grounding. They reach a modest two-story building, its brick facade unassuming against the city's towering skyline. A faded sign reads Kane Innovations. Inside, the air shifts. Warm, alive with the scent of fresh coffee and the faint hum of ambition. Exposed brick walls line the space, cluttered with whiteboards scrawled in code and humming computers. A small team of engineers taps away, their focus unbroken but their energy vibrant. Maria hesitates at the threshold, her boots leaving wet prints on the floor. Sophia stirs, still shivering, her whimpers barely audible now. Elias gestures to a small break room, where a heater glows softly, casting golden light across a worn couch. "Rest here," he says, his voice a quiet anchor. He disappears, returning moments later with a thick blanket, a thermos of steaming tea, and a small bottle of milk for Sophia. His movements are deliberate, unhurried, as if he knows one wrong step could shatter her fragile trust. A woman in her 50s, Ruth, peers in from the hallway. Her gray hair is pulled into a tight bun, her eyes sharp but warm, like someone who's seen enough to judge kindly. She doesn't speak, just nods at Elias, her presence adding a layer of quiet reassurance. A young engineer, Jamal, pokes his head in, his glasses catching the light. He offers a shy smile, then ducks back to his desk, the clatter of his keyboard resuming. The office hums with life, a stark contrast to the cold streets Maria fled. She sinks onto the couch, wrapping the blanket around Sophia, who nuzzles closer, her tiny fingers curling into the fabric. Maria's eyes dart around, taking in the laughter filtering through the walls, the scribbled dreams on the whiteboards. It's a world apart from the one she's known, her husband's family estate, with its heavy silences and sharper cruelties. She can still hear her mother-in-law's voice, cold as steel, "You brought death to my son. Leave, or I'll call the police." The memory stings, her bruises throbbing under the jacket. She fled into the night, her heart in pieces, Sophia her only tether. She sips the tea, its warmth spreading through her chest, thawing the chill in her bones. Sophia latches onto the milk, her whimpers fading to soft, contented sounds. For the first time in hours, Maria exhales, her shoulders loosening. The office's hum surrounds her, not threatening but alive, like a heartbeat. She's not ready to trust, not yet, but this space, this moment, feels like a breath after drowning. A spark flickers in her chest, fragile but undeniable. Hope. Oh. That warm glow. In the quiet of a stranger's kindness, a single moment can feel like salvation. Would you have taken that step into the unknown, or held back, afraid to trust again? Maria's gaze lingers on Elias as he steps away, giving her space to breathe. The office hums on, unaware of the shift in her world. But a new question stirs in her heart: what comes next, in this place that feels like a beginning? Maria cradling Sophia as the office hums softly beyond. Days have slipped by, each one weaving a fragile thread of safety. Now, a deeper connection begins to form, rooted in shared scars and quiet strength. The office hums with a steady rhythm, a heartbeat of purpose and care. Morning light spills through smudged windows, casting soft patterns across the break room's worn couch. Maria folds a blanket with careful hands, her movements deliberate, as if rediscovering her own strength. Sophia, nestled in a makeshift crib of pillows, giggles, a bright, bubbling sound, as Jamal, the young engineer, stacks paper cups into a wobbly tower for her amusement. His shy grin mirrors her delight. Each afternoon, Elias appears like clockwork, setting down a tray of sandwiches, ham, turkey, simple but fresh, before slipping back to his work. The camera catches these moments, a thermos of coffee left steaming, Ruth's quick smile as she passes, the clatter of keyboards blending with Sophia's coos. This space, once foreign, now feels like a pulse Maria can lean into. Maria's mind drifts, unmoored by the quiet safety. Flashbacks flicker like a broken reel, a cramped apartment, her husband's slurred voice turning sharp, his fist crashing against her cheek as she shielded her swollen belly. The night he died, blood on a barroom floor, his last words blaming her for his own rage. Her in-laws' estate looms in her memory, all cold marble and colder words. "You're nothing to us," her mother-in-law spat, her eyes like flint. Maria had begged her own family for help, but her father's voice cut through the phone, "You made your choice." The line went dead, and so did a piece of her. Now, in this office, her hands pause on the blanket, the weight of those memories pressing against the warmth around her. Elias watches from the hallway, his silhouette framed by the soft light. His own past stirs, unbidden. A South Side tenement, walls thin as hope, where a younger Elias read to his mother, Lena, by candlelight. Her cough rattled, cancer stealing her breath, but her eyes glowed as he spun tales of empires from a tattered library book. "You're enough," she'd whispered, her hand weak but firm on his. He hadn't believed her, not when hunger gnawed, not when he slept in alleys after she was gone. Lena's smile a faint echo. Seeing Maria fight for Sophia, her quiet strength, it's like seeing Lena again. His chest tightens, but the pain feels softer now, less like a wound and more like a memory finding peace. One evening, as the office quiets, Elias steps into the break room. Maria rocks Sophia, now asleep, her tiny chest rising and falling. He sits across from her, the silence warm, unhurried. The heater hums softly, the air carrying the faint scent of chamomile from Maria's tea. He doesn't speak at first, just lets the moment breathe. Then, quietly, he says, "I lost someone too. My mother. She believed in me when I didn't." His voice is steady, but there's a crack beneath it, a truth laid bare. Maria meets his gaze, her guard slipping like a heavy coat. "I don't know how to believe in myself anymore," she whispers, her voice raw, barely audible over Sophia's soft breaths. Elias nods, his eyes holding hers, unwavering. "You will. You're already doing it." The words land gently, a bridge between their wounds. They sit in silence, not needing more, shared pain speaks louder than words. In the quiet spaces between words, two hearts find common ground. A small act of understanding can light a path through the darkest pain. What's one kindness that changed your life, or someone else's? Maria's fingers brush Sophia's cheek, her eyes lingering on Elias as he rises to leave. The office settles into night, but a spark of possibility glows brighter. What will this newfound bond mean for their futures? Now Maria and Elias's quiet conversation is fading into the hum of the city. Their bond, fragile but growing, faces a new test. Whispers from the outside world creep in, threatening to unravel their sanctuary. The office's warmth feels fragile now, like a flame flickering in a sudden draft. A local journalist's prying eyes have found Maria, her presence in Elias's world no longer a secret. Rumors ignite, spreading through Chicago's underbelly like sparks on dry grass. "She's a gold digger," a barista mutters at a nearby cafe. "Her husband's death wasn't an accident," a neighbor whispers. Online, a small article blooms, its headline sharp, "Tech star harbors mystery woman, what's he hiding?" The camera catches the sting of it all, a delivery driver's sneer as Maria signs for a package, his eyes raking over her like she's a headline herself. She freezes, pen trembling, the weight of judgment crashing back. In her mind, she's in her in-laws' estate again, their voices cutting like knives, "You're nothing to us." Her chest tightens, the air thick with the same old shame. Ruth's voice breaks through, sharp and defensive, on a phone call in the hallway. She's not what they say. She's a mother, a survivor. The words are meant to protect, but they land like salt on a wound. Maria retreats to the break room, Sophia asleep in her arms, the familiar couch no longer a haven. Her hands shake as she adjusts the blanket, her breaths shallow. The office hums on, keyboards clacking, Jamal's soft laugh, but it feels distant, like a world she doesn't belong to. She whispers to Sophia, "I don't want to ruin this for you, mi amor." The words choke her, heavy with fear that she's a curse, not a mother. Elias senses the shift, the air in the office now brittle. He calls a team meeting, his presence commanding yet calm. The camera pans across the small group, Ruth's steady gaze, Jamal's quiet nod, the engineer's attentive silence. Maria and Sophia are here because they needed help, Elias says, his voice firm but not loud, each word deliberate. That's all you need to know. If anyone has a problem, they can leave. The team nods, their loyalty a silent vow. Later, he finds Maria in the break room, her eyes red, Sophia's small form curled against her. He kneels, keeping his distance, his voice soft but unshakable. "I don't care what they say. You're not invisible to me." The words echo his mother's, "You're enough," and Maria feels them sink into her, a warmth battling the cold doubt in her chest. Elias's stand isn't a shout, it's a wall, built quietly, defying the world's cruelty. That night, they sit on the office roof, the city sprawling below, its lights pulsing like a heartbeat. A gentle drizzle falls, cool against their skin, the air sharp with the scent of wet concrete. Maria speaks, her voice low, halting. She tells of dreams she buried, teaching children, shaping minds. Stolen by a husband who caged her with control, his fists leaving scars deeper than skin. "I'm afraid I'll never be enough for her," she admits, glancing at Sophia, asleep in a portable crib nearby. Elias listens, his eyes steady, reflecting the city's glow. "I know that fear," he says, his voice a quiet confession. "I built all this, but I still feel like that kid in the alleys, alone." His fingers brush the photograph in his pocket, Lena's smile a ghost in his mind. Their vulnerabilities weave together, not love, but something deeper, a shared resolve forged in pain. They sit in the rain, unafraid, their trust a quiet fortress against the storm. When the world screams judgment, a single voice of belief can change everything. Do you believe people deserve second chances, even when the world says they don't? Maria's gaze lingers on the city, a spark of determination flickering in her eyes. Elias stands beside her, their bond a quiet strength. But the whispers haven't stopped. What will it cost to protect this fragile haven? This story started in the shadows, where despair soaked the streets and two souls found each other. Not through grand gestures, but through a quiet choice, to stay, to care. Elias and Maria show us that second chances aren't handed out, they're built, one small act at a time. We all carry invisible battles, but we don't have to face them alone. Sometimes, a hand reaching out, a voice saying, "Come with me," changes everything. This video took countless hours to craft, weaving a story to inspire. So please, subscribe to Heartwarming real-life moments if you believe in redemption, resilience, and stories that heal, and if you want to get notified whenever such stories are uploaded. See you in the next video.